No, allow me to show you.
So, what do you do for work? Do you like it? Do you like it? How many siblings do you have? Oh, you have a lot. You have a lot.
Yikes!
One tattoo is the drama tattoo.
If you're a woman, single, and over 30, you are called 剩女, which means leftover woman in Mandarin. In Cantonese, you are called 羅底橙, 賣剩蔗, and 攝做辣, which means orange at the bottom of the basket, the sugar cane that didn't get sold, and the thing used for filling the gap of the stove. But if you're a man, single, and over 30, you are called 钻石王老五, which means a diamond bachelor in Mandarin. In Cantonese, you're called 笋盘, which means quality real estate. In China,
well, sometimes China really gets it right. Maybe not everything, but it looks like they have their heads on straight for this one. Men, whatever the media continues to say about female empowerment, how women are doing better than ever before, and that's because men are somehow out of the picture, it's fair to say that you can start greeting every talking point by laughing and changing the channel. That is if you're not yet streaming, because, let's be honest, cable is for the soon-to-be deceased. The point I'm trying to make is that if a guy wants evidence that feminism is dying, they only need to look at the women that have hit the wall. With the hormones in denial, acting as an aggressive psychological cocktail, more than ever, we're able to open any app and see the meltdown of the failed experiment in real time. And the crazy part is, they don't even seem to realize it 80% of the time.
A trash can, how to use it?
I actually have found that I think men are more likely to have bizarrely unrealistic expectations. I have so many girlfriends who are highly accomplished, highly educated, great people, and just wonderful women, and the dating pool is absolutely brutal for them.
What are these men looking for?
It is entirely unclear to me that it's like, why are their men not jumping to want to date them? So,
well, Alicia, those are not bizarre and unrealistic expectations, because reality is that ultimately men want to build a family, okay? And most men don't want to be with an accomplished and educated woman because those women are entitled, demanding, and a pain to deal with. Even different studies would tell you that that's the case. So most of your accomplished and educated friends are very likely to end up with a cat instead of a family, just like Whoopi.
I love this guy. If only these clucking hens on these shows and podcasts had people on the show who actually brought facts, but to do that, they'd have to backpedal on decades of conditioning, and that's the problem. The modern woman doesn't understand why men won't comply with their so-called new order for one reason and one reason only. They don't understand how the world works. If I had a nickel for every time I heard one of these aging chicks talk about how they have beautiful girl bosses without men, I'd have more money than Jeff Bezos' ex-wife. The reason for this is that for about 30 to 40 years now, all of these women have been watching romantic comedies and dramas where a fictional man who makes 7 figures can't keep his eyes off a 3 in a business suit. They've become convinced that being a man attracts a man, and although a few seem to swing in that direction, most guys prefer to keep it straight. We don't want a woman who makes money working at a job surrounded by guys waiting for the next work retreat. We don't want a woman who speaks her mind about things she knows nothing about. And we definitely don't desire a girlfriend or wife who complains about being a homemaker, while simultaneously forgetting that the stove is on and burns the entire house down. And yet, here men are in the West, surrounded by women who do all of these things, doing everything they possibly can to ignore what they actually are.
You're getting lipo in the arms,
yes,
lipo in the belly.
And I'm getting a small implant put.
Well, in addition to my other question, how can you possibly be a 10 if you need to get these cosmetics?
No one said I needed them. It's just
well, you're like getting them regardless.
Well, I am in the adult industry, and I probably would make more money if I was like that's a kind of a big thing. And I'm
so what will you be? But these procedures are going to improve your looks.
Yes.
So then, what number will you be after the procedures?
I will always consider myself a 10. I do what I want with the way I look.
But how can, if it's increasing your physical attractiveness?
You can think I'm not a 10. I don't care. Listen, I don't care, and I really don't care what you think about, but I think it's so crazy to get on a podcast and debate how a woman looks.
I'll tell you why it's important.
You alright? Well, it's kind of like stressful. You're putting me on a podcast to debate how I look, and I've already said I don't care.
No. We talked about like
can you just
stop
talking? And it's a little bit stressful.
Or what?
And I'm not gonna lie.
Don't tell me.
Like,
can
you give her some
Stop crying.
I just got a surgery to be a virgin again.
What does that mean?
How's that possible?
You got a new hymen!
Yeah.
And now you're a virgin again.
It's been 7 days.
What's the plan?
I want to restart my body count to 0. I want to find the right guy. He will take my virginity.
Is it a shock that pretty much every modern woman has this mindset? Is it a shock that most of the women who do this with intensity are the ones who hit the wall? No, it isn't. In fact, it's become a societal staple. I'm gonna get real honest here once more and say that this is the first time that I've seen someone talk about restoring their hymen in an attempt to say that they're born again. At least nothing exactly like this. But it doesn't surprise me in the same way it might have 15 years ago. And I doubt most people watching this did anything other than laugh, which is telling of how far these chicks have gone to try and recapture the years and years they spent trying to be men, while simultaneously failing to do so. One of the greatest Western lies, among those I heard a lot growing up but never fully brought into, is that age brings wisdom. That's never seemed to be the case with men or women, but if we had to make a scoreboard for it, obviously we'd see which demographic is consistently on top. Somewhere along the way, these aging women got it in their head that just sitting around on the couch waiting for a hefty alimony check after the 10-year mark suddenly made them Sun Tzu. The obvious problem with that is that both wisdom and general value require that the person in question actually does something to earn it.
Okay, we're gonna add some Worcestershire, we're gonna do some soy sauce, and we're gonna do some balsamic. This is a really, really, really yummy seasoning, you guys. Add some garlic and Dijon. Those make it so delicious, some minced garlic and some Dijon. But my kid has friends over and I don't know if they're gonna like those flavors. So we're gonna do these right now. I changed my mind. I'm adding minced garlic and Dijon. Now we are going to skewer them with the veggies and the chicken. Chicken's been marinating. You don't want to overcrowd the veggies and the chicken, or it's really hard to get it to cook even. We are gonna do, so put whatever vegetables and stuff you guys like on here.
I'm not gonna eat that chicken.
How are we supposed to balance everything? I am drowning. I wake up in the morning, I pack my kids' lunches, I drive them to school, I have to rush back so I can make it to my first meeting. My boss tells me that I'm not engaged enough on Zoom, so I have to try harder there. I spend all day doing my job where I don't even leave my desk chair. My house is falling apart. I don't even have time to take my dogs outside during the day. And somehow I'm also supposed to be working out, cooking dinner at night, eating right, helping them with homework. I spend my lunch break picking them up from school, and I don't even get 5 minutes to myself during the day. Not even enough. Like, I'm not doing anything 100%. When is it just enough?
In short, you're always unhappy, and nothing will change that. Women like this cook lethal meals without knowledge or complain about dancing with toddlers to whatever new song is on a cartoon while trying to convince the rest of the working world that their struggle is like climbing through the jungles of Vietnam or something. Then, when they cook themselves and they decide to follow the girl boss narrative, they hit the wall violently and start to have a big cry on the internet at least once a week. The mainstream media doesn't cover this kind of thing because it doesn't sell, even though this is the fate awaiting every feminist when they cross the red line. Sometimes you run into women in these clips saying, men and women need each other, so why is there so much bad blood? While the statement, in regards to procreation and a few other things, is true, the fact is that men still function normally without the presence of the woman because that's what we were born to do. I might not go as far to say that chicks are a consolation prize, but it's pretty damn close. And you know why I know this? Because men all over the world don't cry about cleaning their own clothes or putting them in a drawer. We don't weep if we're the only ones left to take care of our sons, and we sure as hell don't shed a tear about packing our suitcase before we head out for the grind. When it comes to need, we don't have to look further than the middle-aged woman to understand who is more desperate.
I am not mad that you teenagers don't find me hot. I understand that this is not the desirable body type in your age group. But in my age group, I'm decent.
Suppose we crashed on a deserted island.
No, it's a Southern thing. All the yes ma'am is creeping me out.
Oh yeah, I was surprised to see that too. And you're right, it's totally a Southern thing.
Yes ma'am.
Yes ma'am.
Everything they say, you just say yes ma'am to.
I hate being called ma'am.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
I hate it. I'm like, damn, when did I get so old?
It can be represented in the form of a plastic surgery or cheerleader uniforms, but the message is always loud and clear. Ladies, if you still think you're a hot commodity after the age of 30, or with a high body count, then why does the word ma'am frighten you so much? Well, hold that thought because I'll give you a coherent answer. It's because no matter what you do to run from reality, deep down even the most confident feminist knows that. For women, the clock is their sworn enemy. It's both sad and funny the way so many women hit the wall and jump through tons of hoops to try and prove to the world they still have it, when the truth is no viable or wealthy man would touch that with a 10-foot pole. And when the time comes, when one of them cakes on makeup and buys an $800 dress, only for all real men to run to the hills, they can't do anything but get nasty. They'll hop on the same app they used to present confidence, only to now record themselves with mascara running down their face talking about how the world of men is just not fair. And the thing is, even the women on the way to the wall are starting to come to this understanding. After all, they see many of the same clips we do. So what do? Do they see the error of their ways and try and stop the problem? Do they put on an apron and start acting in accordance to what works for them? Do they vote for legislation that would correct this horrible experiment? Well, no. They do this.
A lot of times when older men go for younger women, it is because they're looking for someone easier that they can manipulate.
So why are the younger women going for them?
Because they are naive and they don't have real world experience. They're going through a transitionary stage in their life where they are leaving their home and they don't know how to make sense of the world.
So they have no accountability.
You could argue that.
Okay, so since they have no accountability, why can they vote?
I mean, that's another discussion.
No, I think it's a relevant discussion because we're either going to treat 18-year-olds as adults who can make their own decisions or we're not.
No, because an 18-year-old could be very book smart, but that doesn't ensure that she knows how to deal with romantic relationships.
Ah, yes. Book smarts versus street smarts. A tired myth that makes anyone generally destructive feel a bit better about sticking with poor habits that always lead to failure. Look, I won't even skirt around the street smarts thing. Women probably have a bit, after all. It's become their natural habitat. That aside, there's an obvious reason why these chicks are going after the older men now, and that's because they hope to shift the paradigm. They think that if they make an older man dating a 25-year-old creepy, then suddenly they'll level the playing field, make the old roll in the hay a full-time career, from which they can somehow retire from. Well, ladies, there's a reason that this hasn't been a theme at almost any point in recorded history. Trends change and styles are altered, but the one constant that has been a global reality before countries even knew their neighbors existed is reproductive health. Men don't want to beat up Corolla if they can get a shiny BMW, which at this point would be marked at a lower price. They want to know that whoever they're hitched to is viable. Now, this may have really changed in the Deep West, where women are dysfunctional at any age, but the point is that no man, regardless of their respective age, would proudly bring a woman past her prime into their home to start a life together. Why? Because when it comes to the relentless biological clock, the woman has already spent her life at that point. And there's another key reason for this.
So how do you know if you should walk away from a woman? Get in closer, because your big sis is going to tell you. It's called victimhood. But what this looks like is much more covert than it might appear. Many men say that they want peace, that they want the mousy type. Personally, I'm Cuban, so I take offense to that because we're effing crazy, but whatever. You're going to want a woman who shares her thoughts, wants, and desires with you. Might come across as a little bitchy, but let me submit to you that covert narcissism is a lot worse fate because they like to live in the space between unexpressed and unmet expectations, which leads to cancer in relationships, and that's called resentment.
Almost got him in me. Almost.
My God! Just leave women alone. She just wanted to read her book. When you asked her a question and you didn't like the response that you got, Instead of accepting her no, you went about convincing her as to why her response to your question was wrong.
Wow, check this out. This is a woman with maxed out misandry stats. And typically when we see rabid feminists, they're younger, Generation Z, millennials. But this fascinating creature here has been able to maintain her male hatred well into her 40s. She should be studied and discarded, catch and release style.
The post was titled, "Fascinating Specimen," and I'm inclined to agree. The only thing I'd correct is that this long-standing hatred is not, in fact, some kind of phenomenon. Otherwise, Karens wouldn't be a thing, and kids with skateboards would have to worry about being chop-blocked by an old bat on their way to the latest protest. And the former chick is no better. One might think that loud and, quote, spicy is better than having another aging woman who's quietly pulling a heist, which maybe if put on a chart is true, but you know what is also true? Nobody is interested in either of these choices. Moreover, nobody is interested in the aging product in general. Kevin Samuels would interview these women time and time again, asking them to tell him what kind of product gets better with age, and the rational answer would be something like wine or cheese. But the thing is, none of them can even come up with that answer, before they just start either desperately trying to sell themselves like a used car salesman with nothing on the lot, or angrily exploding and hating men for somehow magically damaging their lives in some fictional Batcave. The point of all this is that women hitting the wall is not only often a single mom anyway, but if they're not, they come from the exact same source.
How tall are you?
5'4".
5'4". Chloe, is that a deal breaker?
Maybe a little. I'm sorry.
Is Dan your type?
Only one person. You only dated one person.
Yeah, cringe shit.
No, it's you know, some people are just different.
I've been rejected.
You seem like a homie. Like
I do?
Yeah.
That's
you seem
good.
like a
I do.
homie.
Homies, you know?
Homies.
5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom! Bang! That was sweet.
All right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You know, the ancient Egyptians had a beautiful belief about death. When their souls got to the entrance to heaven, the gods asked them 2 questions. Their answers determined whether they were admitted or not.
Okay. I'll bite. What were they?
Have you found joy in your life?
Huh?
Answer the question.
Me?
Yeah, you.
Answer the question. Have I found joy in my life?
Yes.
Yes.
Has your life brought joy to others?
Have you found joy in your life, and have you brought joy to others? At this point, in the modern landscape, well, I'm not a betting man, but if I was, I'd say that men are pretty much the only side of the aisle that's capable of doing that without becoming a farce online. Guys, whatever the age of a woman is today in the West doesn't make much of a difference, because as soon as they hit the wall, the true colors appear. In short, the only time you should be focusing on is your own. And if you made it to the end of this video, I want to say I appreciate you. So don't forget to hit that like button, drop a comment to have a chance to win, and hit that subscribe button for daily videos. And if you could take a quick sec to subscribe to the second channel, Man Guide Reacts, link is right down below in the description, so we can be sure our message will keep on reaching the new men out there. I appreciate all the support, y'all.